Today, I'm going to teach you some of the basics when it comes to the pen tool in Adobe Illustrator. And with those basics, you'll be able to create cool illustrations like this. So, as we're starting off with the very basics, let me first show you, and this may seem obvious, but let me show you where to find the pen tool. The pen tool can be found top left here in your toolbar. You can either click that to select it, or if you want a shortcut for it, just press P on your keyboard and then you'll have the pen tool selected and ready to start using. So again, as this is the basics, let's start with something really simple. Let's start with just a straight line, and then we can look at how to create a curved line. So first things first, make sure that there's no fill on this. We're just looking to create a line here, so make sure the line is set to black or any color you want, just not white because you won't be able to see it. And then just click on one point. You create this point here, this anchor, and then hold shift to keep it straight, and then click another point here and you create another anchor, and that creates a straight line, as you can see here. Now if you want to increase the stroke width of this, just come down to the bottom right, or wherever your properties is, locate your properties, you'll find stroke here, and then you can just increase or decrease the width of the stroke until you're happy with that. Now, if you want to create a curved line, select the pen tool again, let's create an anchor, and instead of this time just holding shift and clicking and then that being done with it, pick a point you want the next anchor to sit, click, hold, and then drag, and then as you drag you start to create a curve. Now, once you've created your curve, if you want to edit it, it's really quite easy. You want to make sure you have your direct select tool selected. You can either press A or come up to the top left again, your toolbar, and it sits just above the pen tool. And then you want to select one of your anchor points, and then if you grab the handle, you can move it around and you can adjust the curve. Which is really handy when you're looking to refine some of your edges and your curves in an illustration. Something else that you can do if you're creating a curve but you want the direction to change quite dramatically. So create a point, pen tool again, and select somewhere else for your next anchor to sit, and then drag. But then rather than letting go here, keep hold of left click and then hold Alt as well. And then you can move, you can see you can move this handlebar here. Now what this allows you to do is, once you've selected where you want the handle to sit, let go of both left click and Alt, and then let's say I want the next anchor to sit down here. Well, there you go, just click there, and you can see instead of it being a curve which just finishes there, you can abruptly change the direction of your path by holding Alt and changing it. I'll give you another example here. And let's select this here, create a little curve, and let's put this straight down. Actually, do you know what? Let's mirror, or in an attempt to mirror the top handlebar, then connect it here, and then you can see it creates like a little eye shape, like an oval. And that's pretty much how you alter your path, the way your path's going, just by holding Alt and dragging until you're happy. It's a good idea to experiment and play around with that, so you get used to it. Just by creating little shapes and playing with your lines here with the pen tool is a good way to get a grasp with it. Let's say you wanted to trace around something. This is what you're probably going to be using the pen tool for, right? Either tracing around a sketch you've done, or maybe you've taken a photograph and you want to trace around an element in the photograph to create a graphic. Well, it really is quite easy once you've got to grasp with the tool itself. But let's start with an easy shape within this illustration. Here's my base sketch. We have covered sketching for vector in a previous video. You'll be able to see the card just on the top of the screen there, if you want to go check that one out first before we move on. But otherwise, let's say here, this little section here, a really simple shape. So you want to select your pen tool again, press P or come to the top left here. Start your point wherever you're most comfortable with starting your path. But we're going to start on the point here, the edge where the direction will change, and then I'm going to drag round. I'm going to hold Alt, and something else you can do, hold Alt to shorten the next curve once you create your next anchor. So you'll see here. But you see here, if I want it to meet this point, it's a little bit short, but if I extend it then it's a little bit long. The way you can combat this is make it a little bit short, and then select the point, then drag, and then it will help fill it out. When you're going around small shapes, you can either decrease the stroke width, which kind of helps, or you can clear it all together. That kind of helps you see where your paths are going. You'll see what I mean here. So even with it not filled and without a stroke line, what you have instead is your path line, and the path lines are actually a lot easier to follow, in my personal opinion, I think. Then we'll bring this round and meet it there. And we're not going to keep this with a stroke. We're going to fill it, and there's that, a really basic shape, which is part of this bigger illustration here. Let's do another basic shape, just to give another example. And this you could do with the, to be honest, you could press L. You could do this with the ellipse tool. The ellipse tool is up here, but for the sake of this tutorial, as we're using the pen tool, we'll use the pen tool. So I want to start with this because it's a more of a circular shape. I want to start at the top where the curve would be. I want to come down here. I'm going to do each of these separately because it's easier, and you're more likely to get a better circular shape than you are if you're going to try and trace around both at the same time. And then you can see here the handlebars are pretty evenly spaced. So I'm just going to select the bottom there. Then I'm going to come up to the other curve point, extend that round, then have it just meet at the top there. It really is as easy as that. I'm just going to quickly do the second one. Then they're joined by using the path tool. And that's that. That's two basic shapes. So maybe draw out a couple of basic shapes yourself. Draw out some squares, draw out some circles, draw out, reflection spots, for example, like these, and just have a go at tracing them around with the pen tool. Now, when you're ready, move on to something a little more complex. I find the best way, once you've done a few basic shapes, the best way to progress your learning and to pick it up quicker is to move on to more complex shapes. You're more likely to have to experiment using holding down Alt and changing the path and altering your curves once you have created your initial path as well. You'll find sometimes they need just a little bit of a tweak once you've got them all connected. So we're gonna trace around this. See me holding Alt there and then adjusting the curve here, dragging down, holding Shift to keep it straight because I want this section to be straight. Then holding Alt to change the direction of the path. Selecting here, dragging it out to fill out the handle. Moving down. You'll find as well that as you're tracing, like this line isn't quite right. I'll edit that once I've connected everything up. You'll see. Drag that round. I'm going to select this anchor point here with the direct select tool. I'm going to drag it out just a little bit so that it more closely resembles the base sketch. Well guys, I do hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you did, it would mean a lot if you could leave a sub to the channel and like the video.